Well, it's officially fall, so what does that mean for the real estate market? When people ask me what the market's like, my answer is often, it depends. The market varies by price point, condition of the house, housing type, and most importantly, where that home is. So there really is no one-size-fits-all answer to this question. But I do think that there are some metrics that will give you an overall sense of how it's behaving right now. And I'm going to give you those for the 7-county metro area, and that includes the cities and the suburbs. So let's talk about general trends, including what kinds of offers are winning at the moment. My name is Mary Schumann, and I'm a realtor here in the Twin Cities. One of the things that I like to do is compare where we are now to where we have been over the past year and even the past few years. It really gives you a perspective that can be hard to get when you just kind of roll through some numbers. The absolute height of the home buying and selling frenzy is in the absolute hottest month of the year here, which is July, and it was in the 26th week of the year, so that was also smack in the middle. At that point, we saw days on market for homes sitting at a little over 19, and today homes are on the market for a median, meaning half above and half below, 28.6 days. This is a noticeable change for buyers that are looking, and I do hear it from my buyers. They're taking note of the longer market times, and they want to know, what does this mean for them? It's probably especially noticeable to sellers that are pretty shocked that their property isn't sold in the first weekend after the news of the market in the past couple of years. Things have definitely changed. It's fun to put this in context though, so if you look at the same data from 1 year ago, we were at 28 and a half days on the market, which is just about identical to what we're seeing now. In the height of the real estate scrum in 2021 and 2022, we were at 21.8 and 22 days, so that's only about a week's difference. It can feel like a very dramatic slowdown, but I don't really think it's that dramatic overall. If we look back at 2019, pre-pandemic, when it really felt normal, interest rates were actually lower than they are sitting at now. They were right around 4% instead of 7.5%. And we were looking at homes staying on the market for a median of 35 days. So we are still in a busier market than we were at that point. A metric used in the real estate industry to help us understand which party in the transaction a market favors is called the absorption rate, or month's supply of inventory. So what this means is if there are less than 5 months of supply of homes on the market or inventory, meaning everything on the market currently would be sold or absorbed in less than 5 months, if nothing else were listed, we can say that the absorption rate indicates a seller's market, so that's under 5 months. It's considered a balanced market if we have 5 to 6 months of inventory, and a buyer's market if there are more than 6 months. We generally consider the metro area to consist of 7 counties, and sometimes you'll hear people include a wider number of counties of up to 14, but as all real estate is hyper-local, I thought it would be interesting to see how different areas of the metro are faring and if there are any spots that may be outliers. So Hennepin County, which includes all of Minneapolis and some western burbs, is at 1.86 months of inventory. Ramsey is moving at a quite brisk 1.36 months. And this includes St. Paul and the suburbs directly north of it. Dakota is under 2 months at 1.77, which includes the south and eastern suburbs like Eagan and Apple Valley. Anoka County is at 1.67 months, and Anoka includes places like Blaine, Ham Lake, St. Francis, basically the suburbs directly north of the city. Counties that are sitting at over 2 months of inventory are Carver County. It has towns like Chaska and Waconia, that's in the west side. Scott County, south of Minneapolis with Prior Lake and Savage, and Washington County, which is on the southeastern side with Woodbury and Cottage Grove. So this is a longer time on the market than we have generally seen, but still firmly in a seller's market. So what about prices? Everyone wants to know about prices, and everyone seems to think that they are dropping, or at least everyone on the news kind of acts like that. as a whole, the answer here is no. The trend line is primarily flat with some minor fluctuations over time, so no enormous increases like we saw in 21 and parts of 2022, but prices aren't dropping either. The median home price has stayed stable. Single-family homes are up about 2.5% year over year in the 7-county area and are hanging right around $387,500 if you leave new construction out of it. New construction is a different animal. It does show a small dip in prices of about $4,000 since March, and the median price is hanging around $580,000. Condos started the year at $198,000, and that's exactly where they are now for previously owned units. New construction prices for condos were heavily influenced by some very high-end luxury homes at the Four Seasons downtown Minneapolis, and median prices were about $843,000 last year, but that median, remember, half above, half below, is now about $655,000. An interesting note is what percentage of the asking price that sellers are receiving in their offers, and that number is at 99% as an average and 100% as a median. So that means that half are above 100% and half below 100%. So can you get a deal? Potentially. As always, this depends on where the home is, how well it is prepared for sale, is it well maintained and clean, and what did they decide to do for pricing? If they mispriced that home out the gate and burned through a large pool of buyers and are now sitting around and waiting for an offer, you may be seeing a price reduction and may still be able to get it for under asking. We are seeing price decreases. I looked at this week and it was at 949 price decreases in the past 7 days. Many of these actually resulted in contracts, and that is out of 6,649 active listings, which is nice actually. For context, inventory that we had in 2018 was 9,783 active listings, but it's been within a couple hundred of this for the past couple of years. So we're still in a tight inventory situation, but people aren't buying as quickly, prompting sellers to reduce their price. As an agent that represents a lot of buyers, I'm actually liking this quite a bit. Sellers no longer have you by the short hairs, and they're willing to negotiate in a lot of circumstances. I'm not saying that you should offer a lowball and that it will be accepted, but if a property has been on the market for a little while, they probably aren't expecting to get list price or over unless there are competing offers, and yes, that does still happen. Another statistic that I think is of interest is the number of sellers that are now making some sort of contribution to closing costs, and that number is at close to 30%. To me, this means that buyers are getting inspections and then seeking remedies that result in sellers complying with the contribution to closing costs. Only 6% of the homes in the sample I'm looking at accepted offers with a contingency that the buyer sell their home, and I'm actually a little surprised by this low number because I think it's been higher in the past, even in the heated market. And I think it could be a larger number if we were looking at a larger sample size, because if there's one thing I'm hearing often from my clients, it's, can we offer contingent on sale? And probably not if it's in the first weekend a home is on the market. It's best if you can avoid this one for all kinds of reasons, but some sellers may actually say, okay. Is this market different than we've seen in the past couple of years? Yep, it sure is. Are people still buying and selling? Yes, they are. Are people paying ridiculous amounts of money over the asking price? Nope, they aren't. Not really. And that really helps. So we all somewhat have a sense of what the market will bear, and buyers and sellers can kind of understand what they're going to have to pay or what they will receive for their property. You'll also not likely have to bring a bunch of extra money to the closing table as a buyer right now to make up for an appraisal gap. I love that. It gives you room to negotiate if the property doesn't appraise for the price that they've asked or the amount that you've agreed to pay. NAR, the National Association of Realtors, has said that 60,000 agents have left the business this year nationwide. I'm going nowhere because I think that while the market has slowed down quite a bit and you can't just like walk out your front door and smack into a client, it has actually normalized quite a bit, and it feels great to be able to consider options, not have to give your firstborn child in a real estate transaction, or your firstborn fur baby, who knows, whatever. So thank you for stopping by. I love to talk to people that meet me on YouTube, so please reach out if you have questions. My contact information is in the description box down below.